Boy, Deuce is running hot early in today's program, man. I tell you what, we are live here, live on ESPN 1320. Thanks for being with us. If you're on Twitch, YouTube, you already got an earful, twitch.tv/ESPN 1320, youtube.com/ESPN 1320. There was speculation whether Deuce and Mo would appear on the show. I can't figure it out. All I know, Deuce and Mo were doing their podcast. I listened to the podcast every day, didn't think anything of it. People kept asking, are Deuce and Mo coming on the show? Of course, Deuce and Mo are coming on the show. They come on the show every Thursday. Why wouldn't they be?
Every Thursday.
But Deuce came in fired up, boy.
Yeah, I did.
You know, it's just like, come on, people.
That's how he feels.
It's just, I'm just going to tell it like it is. That's all there is to it.
I mean, there's just trolls out there, and like, you shouldn't talk to all trolls. But then when there's like a few more, it's like, whoa, no, I'm going to set something straight for everyone. So,
my poll question on YouTube may not have helped the matter.
So did Deuce and Mo turn heel? I saw that. I voted yes because the reality is actually I should have voted no because here's the reality about me. I am a heel. I'll always be a heel.
Yes,
that's all there is to it. Like,
but I ran the comparison that Deuce is the 1986 Macho Man and Morgan is Elizabeth. Like, Morgan is the baby face and you're the dastardly heel. Like, we haven't gotten to the WrestleMania 7 moment where everybody's a baby face. Right now, Deuce is the strong heel who makes Morgan open the ropes for him. Like, that's
oh my God.
Right?
Is that what she did?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
The big moment at WrestleMania 7 was when he opened the ropes for her and the crowd went crazy and everybody was crying. Oh yeah, it was a moment.
What? Wow.
You've never seen that?
Yeah, she needs to take a trip down memory lane.
I've seen a lot down memory lane, but like, yeah, I have not seen that.
You've got to watch the Ultimate Warrior versus Macho Man at WrestleMania 7.
Okay.
And then let the story of the match be told. You got to watch the match in its entirety.
Yeah.
It's a retirement match between Macho Man and the Ultimate Warrior. Let the story be told in its entirety, and then you get to the end and woo!
Wow.
Man, that moment at the end.
I like that. I don't know what happens. Great.
You got to watch it. You absolutely have to watch it.
I will.
It's good stuff. We're thrilled that Deuce and Mo are with us. We're thrilled that Deuce and Mo are always with us here. Host of the Deuce and Mo podcast, available wherever you get podcasts from, including the Odyssey app. Are you, Deuce? Are you still a Cowboys fan?
No. I mean, it's weird because when you grow up a Cowboys fan, and just to be clear, it was passed down to me. I was a little kid, and yes, the Cowboys happened to be good during that stretch, and so I stuck around for a long, long time. But as I got older, I just got kind of sick of Mr. Jerry Jones, and so like I've just become more of an NFL fan. There's certain aspects of the players that I do root for, but like to me, that connection isn't there anymore.
Yeah, that's the way I am. Mo, I know you feel the way I do about Jerry, and that's repulsed.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's why it's been fun over the years, kind of making fun of Deuce, like, haha, you were born into this fandom. And you could tell that he wanted to keep onto it because as a sports fan, like, it's weird. It's weird to be like, oh, I'm not a fan anymore. You can't really change teams. And it sucks because it wasn't his choice, you know? But at the same time, it's like he's not switching teams. And I do still see him every football season, though. You can tell it's like that deep down fan in him. He gets excited for the Cowboys. Like, it just happens.
But Rob in the chat says, so Deuce is really leaning into this no loyalty thing.
That's funny.
It's weird with the Cowboys though, because they're like, I like Dak Prescott. I like him a lot. I do like the last great Cowboy I loved was Tony Romo. I still, love him to this day. Jason Witten, DeMarcus Ware, and then you go back to the 90s. I mean, there's just so many guys that you love. It's just that connection isn't there. And I've just enjoyed being more of just a football fan. Like tonight's game, I'm looking forward to tonight's game, not because I used to root for the Cowboys or have some interest in it. It's the first game of the season. There's storylines galore. You got the Bucs. How are they going to respond after winning a Super Bowl? Is that defense going to be better? And then you look at Dak, and it's like, how does he respond from this injury? The shoulder that was bugging him during training camp. There's so many layers to this. It makes it fun.
And not to be weird, but to kind of be weird, if Jerry Jones dies, is it going to be easier? Yeah, I said it. I mean, who cares? Like, I'm sorry. He's a piece of crap. If he dies, is it easier to like root for that team? Or for other people when they are Cowboys fans? Do you feel like a little less like, oh, well, Jerry isn't around?
For some people it might be.
That's dark.
But I think the Cowboys are. I think the Cowboys are probably one of those teams that are universally hated. Maybe because they're talked about too much, or they're overhyped, or because they are the captains of the hype train. This is the perfect game for tonight.
Oh yeah,
like the Cowboys opening night, Dak returning. You got Tom Brady getting their rings, and dude, I'll admit it. I'm rooting for the Cowboys tonight, but I'm rooting for the Cowboys for a very specific reason. Is that 4-letter network that we share a name with won't stop talking about the Bucs going 17-0, and I need that talk to be dead week 1. I need that to stop.
That would be fantastic. I honestly did not realize that was happening. They're really saying the undefeated stuff with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who, by the way, like, I know they won the Super Bowl. I'm more than aware, and what they did to Kansas City was legit, right? But their postseason run, like, I just wasn't ever impressed with their win. I was like, okay, like, Aaron Rodgers played like crap. Like, they beat Aaron Rodgers.
You were never
I just wasn't. And so I thought they were going to get smashed in the Super Bowl. Hey, they got it done. I'm not all in on this Bucs team. Now they're in a division where you look at it and go, well, they're probably just going to win that division. So they're going to be in. They'll be competitive. The slobber fest all over them is very fascinating.
I don't think people have truly thought, you know what it would mean if the Bucs went undefeated? It would mean they have won 28 games in a row.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That would be
like,
wild.
did Greeny think about that at all before suggesting this on First Take?
Is that that was Greeny?
28 games in a row.
That's hard to do.
I know y'all love Brady, but damn. Speaking of, there was a Julian Edelman line out there this weekend where Julian Edelman said Tom Brady told him he's not chasing Montana, he's chasing Jordan.
I love that.
And I took that as he's chasing Jordan as the greatest athlete of all time. Because if I'm not wrong, doesn't Brady have 6 rings?
I don't even know what it's up to now.
I think he has 6. He got a lot. If not, is there any chance could we ever look at Tom Brady as the greatest athlete of all time?
I just think it's
7 rings.
He's got 7.
He's got that's right.
He's got more.
The Bucs one was 7. Jeez.
God, it's just so hard to compare, right? Like, it's totally different sports. But I mean, Tom Brady's reign has been a long time. I don't know that we'll see quarterbacks playing into their mid-40s all the time. Maybe that is the trend because you're starting to see athletes take care of their bodies more and more and extend their careers. But this is football. This is the quarterback position. And to think all of the wear and tear and long seasons, he had a season-ending injury at one point in his career with New England. And for him to be playing this, I mean, he's 44.
Hey, guys,
that's insane.
Can we just, how the NBA, there was a piece on The Athletic where they divided things up into tiers instead of like ranking all the players. Could we have like a GOAT tier and we put Michael Jordan and Tom Brady in that same GOAT tier at the top and no one else is really going in that tier? And not because they're separate sports. Oh, yes.
Miss Reagan? Yeah, hi, in the back.
Hi.
Damien, big fan of the show.
Thank you.
Where do we put LeBron?
Tier 2. Tier 2.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not ready. And again, we'll appreciate LeBron later on in life. That's what happens.
Like, does he have access to tier 1?
Oh, he can get there. And I think there will be a crowd that's like, oh, he's in tier 1. Like, I think for me, he's in tier 1, but for majority of human beings right now, it'd be like, he's not even close to tier 2, which he would be. But I think it's you always appreciate what was there when it's gone. And that is going to be LeBron James. Like, he's going to be in tier 1 eventually.
Okay.
Just when you want to put him there.
Yeah, it's weird because Tom doesn't even get referenced as the greatest football player of all time. Like that, because Deuce, you were just talking about this a minute ago. It's so different across sports. It's so different across football. Like, there's the quarterback, but then, like, when you talk about the greatest football player of all time, the 2 names that I hear the most often are Jerry Rice and Lawrence Taylor. Those are the 2 names I hear as the greatest football player of all time. I don't think I've ever heard a quarterback's name.
I feel like they pushed Montana for a long time, right? That was the whole Montana Brady thing. But yeah, I mean, Rice gets mentioned, Lawrence Taylor, who won an MVP. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous for a defensive player. I mean, I feel like that may never happen again. It's like we're at the point now. It's the last running back to win an MVP was Peterson in 2012. And then you had that run of,
and that was debatable.
Yeah. And then, I mean, LaDainian Tomlinson won one in the mid 2000s, Sean Alexander, Emmett, but like, besides, it's just quarterbacks.
And you recently, though, had Derrick Henry in the running.
Yeah.
But again, yes, ultimately, it's like everybody gets cleared out and it's going to be a quarterback.
Let's keep talking about great players. You're listening to D-Lo and KC on ESPN 1320 KIFM West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2 Sacramento, and Odyssey Station, and driven by Lashers, Elk Grove Dodge. No Kenny Caraway today. He's with the family. He'll be back with us tomorrow. Deuce and Mo with us here on Twitch, on YouTube, on the Odyssey app, and on 1320 AM. I know you got an opportunity to read Jason Jones' conversation, his article about his conversation with Chris Webber earlier today. What did you think about the revelation of Chris Webber wanting to be a Laker? Because I know Chris is your favorite player of all time, right, Mo?
Oh, yeah. It's something I even asked Deuce earlier. I was like, have we heard this before?
Yes.
Was this something put out there? And Deuce is like, I think maybe a little bit, like we've heard rumblings of it, but seeing it now, I guess maybe as he's going into the Hall of Fame this weekend, it felt a little different. And of course, every time I even bring that up, I'm like, ew, no. Like, I would have hated him. I would have hated that team even more than I already hated that team.
Well, I mean, you think about if that would have happened, of course, the Kings don't get Webber, and then Shaq, it's going to be Shaq, Kobe, and Webber. I mean, you talk about a big three, and if we're talking about Kobe, like 2 years in, Shaq in his prime, see Webb in his prime. Now, a couple of things. The egos would have been pretty out of control. Like, you talk about combustible with Shaq and Kobe, you add Webber to that mix, who knows? But from a pure talent perspective, that would have been unbelievable for the NBA at that time.
Well, didn't happen.
Wait. Well, what's funny though? Could we do the what if though? What if the triangle offense, Chris Webber just didn't work with it? It wasn't the system for him. It totally made his whole career just like not go in the same direction. Again, it's a what if. I'm kind of joking, but at the same time, like, you never know.
There's so many factors.
There's some systems that just don't work for certain guys.
But what ifs are fun. Like we started to get into one yesterday. We never really dove into it because we had some technical difficulties with James Ham yesterday. But I'm sure you saw the Paul Pierce article, not the video, the Paul Pierce article where he was talking about wanting to be traded to the Mavs in the 2007 season. And while I'm not a Paul Pierce guy at all, I did think about that. Like, you talk about what if that had happened? If Paul Pierce got traded in 2007, how different would the NBA have been?
Oh my goodness. I mean, you think about what they ended up doing, right? Ainge, Lance, KG, and Ray Allen, when it looked like Pierce was going to be on the move. He didn't want to be there anymore. So, like, all of a sudden, I mean, does Danny Ainge even stay in Boston as long as he did if he trades Pierce to Dallas?
Doc's probably fired.
Right. Doc is probably not even coach. He's probably doing TV right now, right? Because that championship helped him a lot. Like, he ended up getting traded to the Clippers. And then you start thinking about what it would have done for Dallas. Whether you like Pierce or not, there's no doubt Dallas at that point was really searching for, like, all right, how do we recover from all this? Like, we lost Nash in free agency. We need that second guy. Getting Paul Pierce then with Dirk, that would have been incredible.
I fell down a rabbit hole with this one, because then I started thinking, like, everything that you just thought. Then I started thinking, okay, 08 Celtics, would the Lakers have won? Would Kobe have gotten like 6? If they beat the Celtics in 08, everything plays out the same. Does Kobe get the 6?
Wow.
Does LeBron ever leave Cleveland? Because they were running up against the Celtics. Does LeBron win a title his first go around in Cleveland? And it was just like this domino effect of, and then we would never have to hear about that stupid ass 2008 Boston Celtics team. And I just thought, man, how much better would life be? Yes, that 2008 Celtics team gets to me like the chat got to you a few minutes ago.
Wait, I need to hear why.
Because they don't stop talking. Every time you see Paul, like, there's Kevin Garnett, there's Big Baby, there's Kendrick Perkins. Even though Kendrick Perkins played for 47 other teams, they're all there with that but they don't even acknowledge Ray Allen exists.
That's the weird part. When Ray Allen dipped out to go to Miami, now he's like dead to them.
Like,
it's weird. It's weird because I mean, it's just like that. Obviously, I know basketball and that back then or in that era. I mean, even though it wasn't that long ago,
Right.
it's still what people were very sensitive to people moving around, moving on with teams. But how the hell do you not get over that by now? You know,
they're mad Ray Allen went for a championship and succeeded. And then when they chased one in Brooklyn, failed miserably.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, I can't stand y'all. And now Paul Pierce. Every time Paul Pierce pops up on social media, it's like, oh, this was worse than the last one.
Yeah.
Wow.
What was crazy, by the way, Cuban confirmed that deal too on Twitter. He was saying it was going to be a 3-team deal and the third team backed out. So like that's how close it was to happening. And thinking about how that would have changed, like you just highlighted the landscape of the NBA. It's insane.
Oh my gosh.
What if
Donald
game
Sterling
is fun?
might still own the Clippers. Like you could really go that far. Like it's crazy.
Yes, I mean you play the what if game with NBA stuff.
Crazy.
I mean I can't help but think with Weber going in, you think about the tough times too. And in Jason Jones' story, he talked about when he went down with the knee injury, game 2, 2003 against the Mavs, and that was kind of the end for Sacramento. Like they still had a good team, but it just wasn't the same after that. They eventually traded him to Philly, but. If he doesn't go down, remember, they still went to 7 games against the Mavs without C. Webb. That was their best team. It was better than the team that lost to the Lakers. That was their best team. If they go on to win a championship, you start thinking about, oh, man, would they have gotten an arena sooner? Would the Maloofs still be the owners? Like, you start going that direction. That's pretty crazy.
What if King style? Do you think Chris makes the 75 list, the NBA 75 list?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't see it. I mean, 25 players, right? They're adding. Man, I feel like he's just on the outside.
So
right?
is it as simplistic as that? Like they're adding 25 to the 50, or is someone who made the 50 maybe falling out?
Oh, dude, could you imagine? Hey, sorry, I know you made the 50. You're actually getting bounced out. I feel like if you make the 50, you're in, right? Like you're part of the. That's a great question.
Yeah, that is.
Oh my god,
they don't because
they do it.
It's not a ranking. Right?
No.
But if you rank them and all of a sudden, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like it starts to get full and you're getting pushed back a little bit further.
You guys,
You're like, sorry, Dolph Shays, you're out.
Sorry, bro. Sorry, random guy on the Celtics team that won 8 championships. We're just not going to give you that love anymore.
I honestly think that again, I'm digging this whole like tier thing. And I think that if they divided that even into eras, like the 50 and somehow
that's actually a good
define
point.
what era is
almost like
what?
you have a certain but
But
then you're in the same situation where all of a sudden you're like, well, we have to put some guys from the 60s in, even though there's some guys from the 2000s that are better.
And then LeBron might be in 2 different eras because like hell, he's been playing for so long, so I don't know the rules or how to do that, but like
we can't define an era. That's the problem. Like I heard Rasheed Wallace the other day talking about like LeBron James, like if LeBron played in his era, and I was like, wait a minute. Like when did Rasheed Wallace play? Rasheed Wallace started in the league 6 years before LeBron James.
Right. And a couple of things. Like anyone that's doubting about LeBron being able to play in any era, are you kidding me?
He'd adapt.
I mean, he is huge.
Yep.
Right.
He can pass the ball. He's dominant. Like that's why he gets the Magic Johnson comparisons a lot, right? Like you've heard those comparisons. He would totally fit in any era.
I was bugging out. I was like, yo, I have lost track of when Rasheed Wallace played basketball.
I didn't even look that up. I didn't think
6
about
years.
6 years. Wow. What an era that was 6 years before. I mean,
fam, you were on the court when he scored 28 straight points. Like that was your era, bro. That was you. That's one of the few games that I remember watching. I remember where I was, what I was doing. Like I remember watching that game happen.
Wow.
Yeah, it was one of the most special. That was like, hey, we all knew LeBron was good, but that was when we went, yep, this is his moment now. Like this is his takeover. He's doing it against the Pistons. Are you kidding?
He's great. He's great, guys. And he will be in that top GOAT tier one day.
I think you have a LeBron hater though in the background. That's a shame. Which one of the dogs?
I think that's Bojack.
Oh.
That's got to be Bojack. Not a big LeBron guy.
Yeah. No, shut up back there. Shut up.
That's a shame. That's a shame. You know who I am? Let's shift. We're talking basketball. Emmanual Terry. we talked a lot about him. And I think the last conversation we had about him was me professing my love about him and you going, yeah, he's probably going to be on a training camp roster somewhere in the league. And it turns out it's the Kings training camp roster.
Yeah, he signs that Exhibit 10 deal, which is a deal that they signed Gabe Vincent to a couple of years ago, which that to me leans, he's going to be on the G League team, which is great. Like, what it turned into someone like Gabe Vincent was he ended up getting a 2-way contract with the Miami Heat. Then now he's got a guaranteed deal with the Miami Heat. So
playing behind Kyle Lowry.
Yeah. So now, with Emmanuel Terry, like you love his energy. Like it was infectious. It was fun. The effort was there. It's hard to find a spot on Sacramento's current roster because I think they have 75 big guys on the team, but get him some run in Stockton. Who knows who comes calling because he plays with great effort and that goes a long way.
I like that they're valuing his style of play.
Yeah.
Because we've seen this before because obviously we're close in Stockton where there's some players and we're like, Kings, like keep them around, find a way to keep them around. And then, an organization like the Miami Heat saw that same value in that player and did something about it. So I'm glad with Emmanuel Terry. I'm glad to see that they like what he's about because there is something special about a player that just wants to play with effort 24/7. And it was obviously translating into some good basketball as well.
And honestly, Stockton's going to be kind of fun to watch this year.
Hell
I know we're like,
yeah.
hey, the Stockton Kings play-by-play people are saying that. But like, honestly, you look at the
legit.
Cicada, I mean, it's like a lot of the summer league guys. And you're like, that might be kind of fun.
If you like hoops, you better be watching.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So I wore just a quick sidebar since you brought up play-by-play and color analyst for the Stockton Kings. I wore a nice Nipsey Hussle Dope Ones crew neck in honor of Morgan, who wears crew necks and hoodies when it's 100 degrees outside. And this is my way of showing support for having Morgan Reagan having a greater role with the Sacramento Kings broadcast team. Because I've got to imagine there is probably some opening there for the Sacramento Kings broadcast team. So if anybody knows what's good for them, Morgan Reagan would be great in that position. So wearing a crew neck when it's 105 degrees outside is my way of repping Morgan Reagan.
You're special, Damien.
As her advocate, the Paul Heyman of this,
no.
It's pretty simple. Like NBC Sports, you put her on a couple of times last year. The first time she ever hosted pre, half, and post. And you know what she did? She had a great game. She dominated. It was Kings, Lakers, immense pressure. She gets thrown in there, working, doing something she's never done before, and she absolutely crushes it. So, knock, knock, wake up, NBC Sports. Call Morgan Reagan. Her phone's on. Is it ringing right now? No.
If it's ringing, take it. Yep.
Get it done.
You guys, okay.
Can I? No, Morgan, hang on. I need to point out one other thing.
What?
Everybody remember, are we all forgetting what game Morgan was a part of?
What game?
When Harrison Barnes catches a ball at half court, turns around and heaves it into the hoop.
Great point. I bring the
Morgan
magic.
Reagan game.
I bring the magic. That's what we like to say. And I appreciate the endorsements, you guys. And I appreciate the support with the crew neck. Because you now see in an air conditioning home, it makes sense to have a nice little crew neck on.
It's hot. It's hot.
Thank you,
I wore
Damien.
this for you. It's freaking hot. Like I don't know what you're doing. Like it's ridiculous. But I wanted to rep the Dope Ones and I wanted to rep Morgan. I was like, well, I'm gonna put a crew neck on and now I'm just sitting here sweating for the next 2 hours and nothing I can do about it. Like it is what it is.
I appreciate it.
And since it's a love fest here, you mentioned Gabe Vincent. You guys had a great conversation with him where you can learn a lot about his story. If you check out the Deuce and Mo podcast on the Odyssey app or check out their YouTube channel or their Twitch channel, it is there for you to see. Tyrese, speaking of podcast, was on the Old Man and the Three podcast, and he said something I thought was funny. He was asked about his name being involved in trade rumors. He's like, I just kind of laughed it off. And I thought, like, man, like when is a rumor like really a rumor? Like if Philadelphia calls and says, hey, I want Tyrese Haliburton, and Monty McNair goes, no, is that really a trade rumor?
You're exactly right. That's what I thought. And that's why I think he handled it that way, because it's like, well, no, just because one side is interested doesn't mean. Now, if it was like, hey, the Kings have talked and offered up Tyrese Haliburton in a trade for Ben Simmons, then yeah, that's one thing. But like, that's not the case. So yeah, I don't put much stock into that at all. It's not a trade rumor. Of course, Philly, if you're Daryl Morey, of course you're asking for De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Haliburton, like that, no doubt.
I heard CJ McCollum talk about this on a podcast, not that situation, but being talked about in trade rumors. And again, why is he being talked about in trade rumors when he's part of what Portland is trying to grow off of? It's because he's one of the best players, and that's just what's going to happen. And he's like, hey, it just means that people value what you're doing, and they're seeing what you're doing around the league, even though the other way you could look at it is like your own team doesn't value you enough, so they see that they can get rid of you. But sometimes it's just more to change things up, or even a new scenery for some people and trying to better a roster.
Well, someone calling about Tyrese isn't the same as the four of us, when Kenny was here, jumping out of our chairs when we saw Montrezl Harrell opt in, and we thought Buddy Hield was going to the Los Angeles Lakers. And apparently everybody involved in that trade thought that they were going to one side or the other. So what Tyrese is talking about isn't the same thing that Buddy Hield has to kind of reconcile with. Now, I'm of the belief here, less than 3 weeks away from the start of camp, I think Buddy's going to be at the Golden One Center that first day. How do you reconcile, from Monty, from Luke, from Buddy? How do you kind of reconcile that?
Well, I think number one, and this kind of relates to a piece I read in The Ringer today about communication in the NFL. I think NBA teams, not all of them, do a much better job of communicating. And the fact is, as long as you're being honest and truthful with the guy, like, it doesn't make it any easier. But I think Buddy's aware. I think there have been some indication in the past he's liking posts on Instagram that maybe he'd have interest going somewhere else. So if the lines of communication are open, like, hey, we're trying to find a deal for you, we'll try to work it out, but you know what, we still value you here. Like, let's just go for it. Like, it's going to benefit both sides if you're here, engaged, playing well. It's only going to help things. So let's just do it. And some guys don't handle it great. That's fine. I think Buddy will. I think Buddy probably made it. No, I mean, even last offseason, remember, we were like, wow, Buddy and Luke aren't talking. That's not good. Well, it seemed like they were able to patch some things up last year and at least be cool on a professional level. And that's all that matters. But if he wasn't cool with it, then all of a sudden, you're in a much different situation. Then you start thinking about a situation like in Philly with Ben Simmons, where the guy's like, I'm not showing up.
And you guys, why wouldn't he be cool with that? He's already expressed in ways that he would be fine not being here in Sacramento. And I don't think it's like, it's a business. People aren't like petty being like, let's get rid of him because he didn't want to be here and we don't think he shoots good enough. It's not like that.
It's a front office voice. I like it.
Yeah. Thank you. That's how they talk, in some organizations. And it's just not like that. And if anything, it's like, okay, great. If anything, they're looking to move me, so let me showcase my talent. That's what it should be. But you're exactly right. Not all guys are going to feel like that. And the egos are going to get in the way. The feelings are going to be hurt. They're human.
And just based on what we've seen on social media over this offseason, it seems like he's been in LA working out with teammates, wearing King stuff. So I'm like, okay, that's a good sign. Like, he's clearly not like pissed off and like pouting and just working out alone. Like, he's with his teammates, he's working with the developmental staff, like he's getting his work in. And like, that's the one thing you won't question about Buddy, is like, he's going to put the work in.
Deuce and Mo with us here on ESPN 1320, as they are every single Thursday at this time. Do you think, to use a football term, is that an open competition at that position?
With the shooting guard?
With Buddy, with the starting two spot. But namely, we're talking about Buddy and Tyrese. Like, is that open? Because I don't feel like it is.
So you think it's Buddy, or do you think it's Tyrese?
I do not. I think it's Tyrese.
Well, I mean, I think we all think Tyrese should be that guy. I don't know how that coaching staff views things. Like,
that would be weird.
Like, I think that's one of the biggest storylines going into the season. Like, it to me with the Kings is like, okay, what's happening there? Because the fact of the matter is this: both guys are going to have to play. Like, Buddy helps his team in a lot of ways, spacing, really good shooter, obviously, and we know what Tyrese is capable of. I like the idea of starting Tyrese and putting Buddy in a situation to go up against second units with Davion Mitchell off the bench. It's kind of nice. Bring Terrence Davis too. Okay, let's see where it goes. Now you start juggling the other things, right? Like, how much is it being influenced? Like, is Monty telling Luke, hey, look, we need to keep him in the starting lineup. We feel like it's going to benefit him and his numbers and allow us some flexibility. This is the best role for him. Like, help us out here. I don't know. That to me is like the biggest question going into the season.
And that's so weird. You play the best player, right?
But this is pro sports. This is what happens.
Hello, I wasn't done. I was saying you play the best player, but that's exactly where I was going to go with. This is pro sports. It's a business. So if you're trying to if you're trying to trade a guy and you're trying to sell his talent, you're obviously going to want to showcase his talent and show like he's the starter. You want to prove why his contract is so big, because he's a starter and he's a shooting guard, and shooting's very valuable on the squad. But yeah, it is tough because you're damn right. Tyrese Haliburton should be starting.
Should we also like care less about who starts and who it's more about who finishes?
Yes, in some ways, yes. As long as, like, for example, when Bogdanovich was here and he was starting over Buddy, it was working. It all worked out. So we didn't care. So if it works, then sure. But I'm pretty sure this roster is pretty close to what it was last year, and it didn't work. So that's why that change, I feel like, is going to make that difference.
Okay. I just get so stuck with that because I'm trying to envision, like, because we're talking like Buddy's going to be here. I just said Buddy will be here the first day of training camp, and then, but I'm trying to envision now the last day of training camp. Like, all right, Buddy, this, like I'm envisioning like a starting lineup posted on a whiteboard in a locker room or something like that. Like I don't know how it's like done. And then there's Tyrese's
like it's a
name
school
there.
Play and you have to see if you made the cast.
Yeah,
Buddy, where are you at? Where?
Oh man,
and Buddy's looking at the chalkboard like, oh,
the chalkboard, Damien. What?
I don't know.
This is like a 1980s movie.
Yeah.
I mean, the whiteboard, the whatever. I'm just envisioning him looking at it like confused, like, oh, for real?
That happened to me before.
I refuse to believe it.
What?
You lost the starting job to someone?
Because I wouldn't wear the team shoe that ended up effing up my foot. And then I had to sit out for weeks because it created because they were thin, narrow, and I have big, wide feet.
Yeah, okay. Antonio Brown with the helmet. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But anyway, and then the coach wrote all the names, the starting, and I come like, way to communicate with me. It wasn't. She just dropped it right there and was like, "Yep, these are our starters." And I was like,
Morgan Reagan, coach killer. I would not want to coach her.
Oh. Jeez. My God, what? I didn't do anything except the stupid shoe wouldn't fit.
I would have been you too if you were like, hey, I don't want to wear the team shoes.
But, wasn't. I didn't want to wear them, you guys. I literally have a wide Shrek foot, and everyone else had petite little Cinderella feet that these little team shoes work for. Damn.
What team shoe was it?
It was a Nike shoe, and it was nothing special. It was nothing special.
So I'm gonna guess. Because I have the fat foot too.
Okay.
I can't wear Kyrie's. They run too thin, which is horrible because they're dope and they're comfortable, but I can't wear them because they run thin. And it's terrible because Kyrie has a great relationship with Duke University, and I get asked regularly, hey, and it's like, I mean, I could put them behind me for the live stream because I can't wear those. Like,
you get it. You get it.
And I might be able to wear them, Damien. So if you,
what size are you?
10.5, 11, depending on the shoe.
Okay. Well, you might have some Kyrie PEs coming your way because we're the same size, my friend. Not for you, Mo, because you got the Shrek foot. So
hey, no worries. I got some new KDs in the closet from Foot Locker. So
KDs are great. Like KDs are fantastic. Do you still ball?
Well, I got these I did a little thing with Foot Locker, so they gave me a whole bunch of gear, and so I picked out these KDs, and I did play in them. I played in them outside because that's where they were shooting some stuff, which felt weird on these really good basketball shoes. But no, I haven't balled since, everything hit, and I haven't been able to get to a gym. So I miss it. And I don't even know if I can shoot the ball anymore.
I'll send you directions to Kenny's house. You can go play outside.
He's going to come out there and he's going to wish I wasn't there.
How strong was that though, Deuce? Like, oh, I did some stuff with Foot Locker and they sent me.
Oh my God.
That was pretty strong, though.
Yeah, it was at Foot Locker. One of my big time.
Oh, stop.
deals.
No, it was just the reason why I got the shoes.
I had a shoe, you know,
Oh,
it's
come
like
on.
it was an all day thing.
Stop.
All over Sacramento.
I got to pick whatever basketball shoe I wanted too.
It was a pretty dope video they did. I
It
remember the video. I didn't know the tie-in to Foot Locker. I know you
Yeah.
tagged Foot Locker. I didn't know the tie-in.
Yeah.
But that was a pretty dope video.
Thanks. No, it was cool. And Foot Locker is awesome. And I appreciate all the gear I got, especially the KDs.
NBC would be smart. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I don't know what the issue is. Like, NBC would be smart to add you guys to that.
You're
that
so
squad.
sweet. You're sweet, Damien.
I don't run any of this by them, by the way. For those who are wondering, like, I just start talking
love it.
and I just watch the faces that they make as I'm saying this stuff. Like, oh my God, like it's never gonna happen because he won't shut up.
Oh no, I love it. Hey, stir the pot.
Yeah,
I like stirring the pot.
And we like talking about stuff too, Damien. That's the thing. That's what I love about doing this on Thursdays too, is because we don't hold back on a lot of things. We probably hold back on like cussing. We're on the radio. Like I understand.
That'd be good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. But there's times even in between in commercial breaks when we're on the live stream on YouTube and Twitch, it's like we're just talking like we would talk.
Yeah, it's not just bits.
Yeah. It's not just bits.
Okay, since we've pulled the curtain back, we'll let everybody in on a secret. Like, we knew what Deuce and Mo were doing this week, just in case anybody was wondering. Just in case anybody thinks we opened up Twitter one day and we're like,
what?
On whose side is he on?
No, Deuce hit me up Monday and we're like, hey, this is what we're doing. It's like, oh, cool. Like,
We communicate.
Yeah,
We communicate because it's like,
knock it out.
yeah.
Knock it out. Ain't nothing changed here though.
Ain't no thing.
No, I mean, we got hit up. We did it for a guy that we really like, and it was fun to do it. But it was also like, you know, we're focused on what we're doing. You know what I mean? That's all there is to it. And the fact is, we're on with you guys every single week. We have what I love about us too. When I say us, you, Kenny, me, Morgan, it's. There's no, like, we want everyone to succeed here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
amen.
We love collaborating with you guys. We love having conversations and like we've gotten listeners from you guys. You guys have gotten listeners from us. It's a good thing. And I think back in the day,
that's what I want to
it
get
used to just be so cutthroat. I mean, I've heard this comparison in a world of comedy for comedians. Back in the day, everyone was just, all they could do was fighting for that one late night slot. Like,
so can I get others down?
Can I get on Letterman? Can I get on Leno? Can I get on Carson? I need that 7-minute spot. And that was it. Or maybe you got lucky and got a Showtime's, an HBO special. And you got so lucky. That was it. Now it's like podcasting. It's doing stuff, content on digital, and you can own it. Like, that's what's so fun about it. And so a lot of comedians are working with other comedians because it helps everybody else.
We reached out to a small podcast that we saw that did a whole bunch of NBA stuff they're not that small, but they're smaller. And we're like, dude, you guys want to do a show with us one time? Because we just loved the conversations they were having. It's like, life is better when you empower one another and you uplift one another and you don't shoot each other down. And then a lot more people can win that way. It's a crazy concept if the whole world worked like this, you know?
I like working with real, genuine people.
Hell yeah.
And fans of sports media in this market don't have to look far to figure out who's excluded from all of this. It's almost as if the three of us got together and launched a nonprofit that would help people in this regard. It's almost as if that happened. It's crazy, but yeah, you guys have had a busy week, and it was fun seeing some of the wait a minute, what's happening? There was a part of me last night. Deuce texted me last night, and I saw the phone from across the room, and it was like 7. And I saw Deuce Mason's name pop up, and I thought, oh my God, I don't want to open that text because I think it's going to say, hey, we got a ... fill in the rest. And I was like, oh, no. And it's one of those moments where the text comes in and I'm kind of like just sitting there like, all right, just pull the Band-Aid off.
That's not happening. And just to be clear.
And just to be clear, Damien, this thing right here, I feel like WrestleMania. I love doing this. This thing right here. We're going to the MFing moon.
Yeah.
It's cool. I mean, we've talked to, I'm not Foot Locker, but we've talked to a lot of other sponsors and we have some new people coming on as soon as the season starts, and we're excited to keep just growing and balling and collaborating. Let's go.
Yeah, you guys are killing it. That's why I steal all your ideas from your YouTube channel to make ours pop even more.
They're not stealing.
It's not. Me, it's, you know what, who wins in it? It's just like we're talking about with AEW in wrestling, and WWE still hasn't kind of figured it out yet.
Yeah.
You know, you can work together with people, and you know who benefits? Wrestling fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who benefits from all of this? Us collaborating and doing things together every week, and you guys coming on our show, we go on yours. Sports fans in Sacramento is cool. It's knocked down that forbidden door. Like, how ridiculous would it be if you guys, or we are like, hey, we're the Deuce and Mo podcast. We compete against Damian and Kenny. We're not going on with them. We're actually not even going to acknowledge them. Get out of here. Like, to me, if something's good, if you will know if I like something, because I will promote it. I will be a part of it. I will endorse it. If I don't endorse it, breaking news, I'm not about it.
But I'm also not going to put it down. You're not going to, you're not going to see,
Morgan's going to ignore it.
Yeah.
Deuce is going to be like me, and he's going to find some way to throw something at it.
You guys find your cute little petty tweet once here and there, your words. And me, I just sit back and smile and go, that's gross.
Yeah, Morgan is too big for that. Your guys' work week is officially over, man. We love you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. The Deuce and Mo podcast on the Odyssey app, on YouTube, on Twitch, wherever you get podcasts from.